in the way that this happens, that you like forge these connections was, people would walk in and they would say, hey, how can I help? What can I do? And it was like, because there's just so much going on, it's like, hey, go talk to that person and they'll tell you everything.
Yep.
Well, so you're forced in that moment, you're forced to talk to that person. You may not know that person, but now you do.
Yep.
Now you have a connection. Now you have a name. Now you know what I mean? It's just, walls are inevitably going to fall down. Like they can't help it because there's so much going on. And then, you reap the benefit of that down the road, because now you met somebody. Now you know their name. Now when you walk in on a Sunday, it's, hey, how's it going? It's good to see you, whatever. Like, and there's just a connection there that, that I think lasts way beyond just one Sunday.
Welcome to Let's Talk About That, the podcast where we take a deeper dive into Sunday's message and explore any questions you might have. I'm your host, AJ Stevens, joined by lead pastor Chip Parker, and I'm thrilled to be on this journey with you. Whether you're a longtime member of the Orchard or a first-time visitor, Let's Talk About That is your space to explore, reflect, and connect. Join us as we navigate the intricacies of faith, spirituality, and daily life, seeking to understand how the wisdom shared on Sundays can be applied to our modern challenges. So grab a cup of coffee, find a comfortable space, and let's dive in together. This is Let's Talk About That, where the conversation about Sunday's message never stops. Well, we're back on the heels of another wild week in college football. No, I'm just kidding. We'll spare the college football talk today. But we did have a very wild week, I think, across our locations because everything looked completely different. So if you were at the Orchard this past Sunday, then one, if you walked in expecting a service, you were probably a little bit shocked. Two, if you knew it was coming, then I think you had a really unique opportunity to kind of go out and do something different. And so this past Sunday was Impact Sunday, and really and truly the goal behind Impact Sunday, and I would love for you to speak to this on the backside of this, Matt, but was to not just gather as the church, but to disperse as the church and say, all right, this is what it normally looks like when we gather, but today we're not just going to gather, we're going to serve, and we're going to go out into our community and we're going to do some different things. And so I know all across our 3 locations, we had a ton of different things going on, but how did it look? How was it? What were some of the takeaways for you in Live Oak?
So just, if you weren't in Live Oak, kind of explain what we did. I met with a team of people several weeks ago, and the point was to kind of brainstorm, hey, I have some ideas, but I'm not the most creative guy, but also I know that other people are more passionate, about their own ideas, and sometimes my ideas they're not as passionate about. And so I wanted to just meet with a team of people and just say, these guys and girls, they work in different parts of the community. They know different people. They see different people. They see different needs in the community. And so we sat down, and kind of the consensus at the end of that conversation with several ideas was, like, well, what if we just did like a community yard sale, but everything is free, And so the idea of Impact Sunday is we wanted to do something not just to say we did it. Mm-hmm. We wanted to actually have an impact. We wanted to do something that we felt like was meaningful, that could meet tangible needs in the community, that could really convey demonstrably through our actions that, hey, we gather every Sunday, but we don't just sing about Jesus and talk about Jesus. Like, we want to demonstrate Jesus in and through us. And so we settled on that idea. And so we had a community yard sale and everything was free. We kind of specified that we wanted to do things that were upcoming, like, winter clothes, long sleeves, jackets, that kind of stuff. Any gently used, but in good condition toys that could be given as Christmas gifts, sports equipment. There's soccer season coming up, baseball, softball, that kind of stuff. And so that's what we did. And I thought all in all, it was phenomenal across the board. I know we can probably get into some of the stories or specifics later, but we hosted a community yard sale with everything free. We had free breakfast. We took some of those breakfast boxes to different places in town. So all in all, I thought it was just an awesome day. We had a huge turnout from our people.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous. I don't know how you guys felt leading up to Impact Sunday. I felt like, when you have your computer and you just have like 10 tabs open at one time, and it's like, hey, that's, I need to come back and look at this. I need this or whatever. And it was like, I don't know, for probably the last 3 weeks, that's how I felt, with just 10 tabs open, and none of them had a completion date until yesterday. And so it was kind of a lot leading up to it. But man, our people showed up. They were busy the whole time. I looked out and I just see brown shirts, everywhere doing different things. So all in all, I thought it was an awesome day. And again, just shout out to all of our people. So
yeah, did you have any like unique stories that came out of that like stick out to you initially? You're like, man, didn't see this coming, but it ended up, one of those One of those moments that we say all the time, it just so happens, never just happens, right? One of those kind of culminating moments.
Yeah. So I've heard a few stories. Some of them were just, our people coming up in the moment kind of thing, just sharing some things, We served pancakes and sausage in Live Oak, and one of the comments was one of the ladies who was helping kind of pack boxes and get everything organized for people to come up and grab it. She said that there was I think it was a lady and her daughter, maybe a family, and one of the comments was, I think it was from one of the daughters or one of the kids that said, I don't really like pancakes, but I'm going to eat this because it's a hot meal.
Come on.
And just, some things like that maybe we don't necessarily think about or we kind of take for granted. And so, that was just kind of an innocent comment that this person overheard. But again, you're trying to meet a physical, tangible need. And so that was pretty cool. One of the cool things was I met a guy named Tevin. He walks up and he's like, yeah, I'm here with the Boys Ranch. There's a Boys Ranch in Suwannee County, if you're familiar. And he walks up and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like maybe they heard about it. They're coming, to look through stuff, whatever. And I quickly realized that he was talking about like they were bringing their boys' dorm to church, and they had come a couple weeks ago. And then I had this like crisis moment of we're actually not having church, at least not as we know it, not our normal services today. And so when I realized that, I talked to him real quick and I was like, hey, we're not having services today, but they're more than welcome to come and look through stuff, and have breakfast with us and just kind of enjoy the day. And I could see it on his face. He was like panicked as well of like, all right, abort mission, like
out here. Yeah.
We had a plan and now we don't have a plan kind of thing. But, and I had met the cottage parents a couple weeks ago at services. And so they pulled up and we had good conversation. And I was like, man, these guys are more than welcome to go pick through stuff. And I think it was cool because what they were expecting is not what they got, but maybe it was better than what they expected. And so that was pretty cool because if you know anything about the ranch, sometimes those guys come from, difficult situations. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. And so it was cool because they got to go and it was cool because they were one of the first ones there.
Yeah.
So they got to go and just pick through stuff. And you could almost see the boys, like their eyes light up. Yeah. And as far as I know, I looked out and they were out and looking through stuff. So, it's cool because you didn't really necessarily expect that, but maybe, God knows what they need and maybe they needed something or, anything. And so they got to go and pick through it. So
yeah, that's exactly what I mean by the it just so happens, never just happens moments. Right. And I think it's so like, I don't know, you see these all the time. But these moments where like, well, I didn't expect that, but clearly God knew what he was doing whenever he organized and orchestrated. And the analogy I use all the time is the chessboard, right? I just think it's such a relevant, like he can see 10 moves ahead when you can only kind of see what's in front of you. And so if you're moving your piece and you're staying active and you're living on mission, well, God's already working something out over here that you can't see yet. And you may never see what he's going to do until 5 years down the road or a month down the road or whatever. And it's not for you to see or to know. It's just for you to be obedient. And it's one of the beauties of Sundays like this. You just get together, you get your hands dirty, you go be obedient, and then you watch all these things that God's been lining up come to fruition.
And we say it all the time, but we want something for you, not from you, right? And I think like we genuinely mean that. And sometimes people still kind of are skeptical about that of like, okay, it's a good sales pitch.
Yeah.
Reverse psychology kind of thing. But, when we met with our team of people, and even when we were kind of like rallying the troops behind the idea, it was like, hey, we just want to give stuff away, stuff that's meaningful, and there was nice stuff. There was good stuff, this is not like junk stuff. This is like, man, I saw some of the stuff that people brought and like, this is good quality stuff. And that's a good quality jacket, and, like, hey, it's going to sit in my closet or you can wear it and stay warm kind of thing. And it was just cool to see it. I had the same thought, as the type A in me, right, was in panic mode for 3 weeks of like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know who's going to show up, all this kind of stuff. Are we going to have enough items to donate? All like, just the logistics of it all. But as people were bringing stuff in, we had a plan. We want winter clothes, jackets, sports equipment, kids stuff, that kind of stuff. And inevitably you start getting donations, and it's like, that's not really what we were looking for. But every time I saw something that I was like, well, we didn't really specify this. It was like, but that's probably here because God knows that somebody needs this.
Yeah.
And so it was just cool to kind of even go through the stuff. We unloaded the trailer and, I was like, we have quite a bit of stuff. And then I'm telling you, it multiplied. Like in the lobby, when people started unbagging it, it was like there was stuff everywhere. And one of the cool things was, I know we can talk about Lake City and Brantford. I don't want to take all the time, but let's get. It was really cool because, like, at first planning, right? You don't know what to expect. We had originally decided, hey, we're going to give out tickets. Everything's free, but that way you can just kind of manage so that we have enough stuff for everybody. We want everybody to have a shot at this. And once everything was unbagged, it was like, we don't need to give out tickets. Like, we have so much stuff that like anybody can just take anything. We're not going to run out.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because I would look out and, we're not keeping tabs on it, but I would just look out, I see brown shirts. I see our people, they're hustling, they're doing stuff, they're interacting with people. And I would see people walking their car and they had trash bags of stuff.
Yeah. Come on.
And then you look back out and it's like they didn't make a dent.
Yeah.
And like I'm telling you, almost everybody that came through got a trash bag of clothes, like tons of stuff.
Right.
And we still had some left over at the end of the day. So all in all, I thought it was just an awesome day.
Good. That's awesome. That is awesome. So, and Chris, you went from Live Oak for a little while to Brantford, right? Correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Some different things they had going on in Brantford. They had a block party down there, right? I know they had a prayer walk. I know they had some debris cleanup. So
they did a breakfast.
Yeah. Okay. So what all did you see going on down there?
Yeah. So we kind of showed up a little too late for the breakfast. I think they started at 8:30. We tried our best to hit all the locations, but that's a.
Did you guys get breakfast when you were in Lava?
No, we didn't.
Man, you missed out.
I'm
just telling you that. Yeah. I don't know if it was the mix. I don't know if it was the butter on top of the pancakes, but those pancakes were busting.
They look good.
Oh gosh.
We just wanted to, save it for
Ennial.
Save it for other people.
Yeah.
We did get a really good muffin from Brantford. Anyway, so we showed up and we just missed the breakfast. They said they had a huge turnout, a ton of people. Hopefully people got some pictures sent to us. And then they were getting the block party going. They had activities for kids out there. They were blowing bubbles, making the balloon animals, and they were.
I saw the hot dog actor, and I saw one picture like KJ and Buffy. I think were like making balloon animals.
Oh yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
he was trying to figure it out. He was like, "How's as best I can do?" And he was the guy like,
if there was ever a guy to improvise on the spot making balloon animals, it's probably KJ.
Yeah, and so he was like, "Oh, it looks like a butterfly," and he was like, "Okay."
Butterfly is crazy. I don't know if I would jump straight to butterfly for my trial run and making balloons. Well, that seems a little ambitious.
Anyway, I was trying to make a sword, but it looks like a butterfly. There you go.
That's probably why it's crazy.
So here's the cool thing about Impact Sunday. Really, as I understand it, it was birthed out of Brantford, right? Like this was really an Eddie idea, a Brantford people idea. I don't even know if Eddie would want to take credit for that. But
yeah, I think the original idea he had, they were talking about like Impact Brantford, I think is what he kind of nicknamed it.
Yeah.
And that morphed into like, hey, what does this look like for every location?
Yeah, let me just pause right there and say if Eddie ever says his branding didn't stick, Impact Brantford made it all the way to Impact Sunday, which was all
the guy who founded the orchard. Wouldn't you know it? He had an idea that stuck.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, just seeing that from him, kind of leading the charge there and saying, this is what I'm thinking, dreaming, want it to be. I think it's so cool, just to be able to go out there and say, hey, what if we just didn't gather? What if we just dispersed? And so I know that their people were fired up, and I know that they did some really cool things yesterday. And I also love that Brantford is right in the middle of that community, right? Because they meet at the high school, and we'll talk about that a little bit later with the Jingle Jam stuff coming. But they meet in the high school, and so they really are kind of like right there, core in the middle of the community. And they have such a good thumbprint on what's going on, and they do such a good job of loving that community. And so I have no doubts that yesterday was probably a phenomenal win for them.
Yeah, and even that, in Live Oak, we're kind of in the very similar heart of Live Oak. There's like two sides of Live Oak. You got the interstate where everything is, and then you got the schools, and a lot of stuff revolves around the schools and stuff like that. But it's one of the cool things about our location is we're right in the middle of the school area, and we had so one of the things we did was we fed people. We were going to deliver to the police department, the sheriff's office, but a lot of those guys were on patrol, and there's not really office staff on the weekend, so they just came to us. And it was cool. Several officers just hung out and chatted for an hour or so, hanging out in the parking lot. And one of the guys, he said it off the cuff. I don't think he meant a whole lot by it, but he's like, man, you guys have a great location here. And I was like, I mean, absolutely. We love being in the heart of our community, both literally and, figuratively. Yeah, so I thought it was cool that Impact Sunday was like the best of both worlds, where we're trying to be in the heart of the community.
Yeah, your first responders that showed up, didn't you guys write cards for them or something?
Yeah, we did. We probably won't talk. We had one card that did not get vetted, I guess.
Okay.
I have a picture. I sent it in the pastor's group yesterday, but anyway, the guy who received it actually went to the hospital.
So it got sent out. Oh yeah. Okay, I didn't know. May had it ahead of time.
So I will spare you the details of the card. But we had our kids, Cindy had all of our kids like write letters last week, to send out. And so it was to the fire department, police department, nursing homes, all this stuff. Well, one of them ended up with the ER staff. And it was actually one of the staff members that we know who sent us the picture. That's how we knew about it. Yeah. We didn't know otherwise. And she sent it because she was cracking up. And I guess one of the doctors at the hospital thought it was hilarious. And so she literally like did a video of him and he hung it right by his leg. So it is there right now. So yeah, like kids say the darndest thing. Well, they write the darndest things on cards. And it was hilarious because like right next to it is like, Jesus loves you. And then here's this like this off the wall comment. Well, like super random.
Yeah. Gosh dang.
Well, brighten their day. I would bring joy throughout their week.
You thought it was hilarious.
It brightened my day when I saw the text from Matt roll the bastard shot. I was cracking up.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, good. I know in Lake City we had, I think we ended up with 5 different things going on, which this is and I'm sure everybody felt this. This is like the tension, right? You don't know how many people are coming. Mm-hmm. And so you don't know how many projects you need.
It's hard to plan specifically.
Right. And so you're kind of like, all right, well, I don't want to have 8 projects and 40 people show up. And I don't want to have 3 projects and 150 people show up. And so you kind of got to find the sweet spot. So we ended up having a couple on deck just in case what I thought would happen happened, and it did. And so we ended up with, I think, 91 people signed up, which is phenomenal. Thank you for signing up. If you signed up, it helped relieve a bit of my anxiety leading up to Sunday, although not all of it, because the other tension for us LPs, location pastors, was we couldn't be at the projects that were going on. And so we had to, now for you it's a little bit different because you guys did it at the church, but for me, our job was to stay back at the church and address guests and whatever. And so
if somebody does show up for church, you're like, hey, actually.
Right. And so not only are we doing 5 different projects, but you need 5 leaders. I need 5 leaders, 5 point people that I can trust with my life and say, all right, you are our representative today and you are the organizer of this if it goes haywire, all that kind of stuff. And so I am grateful because across the board, all of those people who were appointed to do those different things they did a phenomenal job. And so you had, one of the things that we did was we went to Richardson Community Center. Mark and Tammy kind of led the charge on that. We went over to Cabins for Veterans. You had Jennifer Lee, who really ended up serving as a massive point person because she's so in touch with the organizations that serve the community. And so she was a great resource and was just incredibly helpful. Like more so than I could ever express. So Jennifer took the point there because I think she just has a soft spot for what they're doing over there. And so you had the Cabins, you had Richardson, we had the domiciliary Ed De Silva. So This is a funny story. So I end up getting wind of this from somebody else in our church. I think maybe Deanna Willis was the one that told me this. And so I pick up the phone, I call Ed, and I'm like, hey Ed, it's looking like we're gonna have way more people than we need, air quotes, for what's going on here. How can we serve you guys Sunday? And he's like, well, I think, those guys they'll talk your ear off, just get them a little goodie bag, go in there and tell them thank you. And so we had a group stay back, write handwritten cards, just thanking our veterans, putting a Bible verse on it, word of encouragement, and then going out there. And I got to hear
bet the cards.
We did not bet the cards, but it was a lot of adults writing those cards. And here's the coolest part about this one. And then Windsong was the other one, Windsong Apartment Complex. We got to go over there and partner with them. We fed 30 of their seniors and we packed 50 Thanksgiving meals with turkeys and everything for families that couldn't afford it. Belinda's leading the charge over there. And so she had gotten, an idea of which families would need this and told them to come on. But this is the win in these things to me. The win was, okay, yes, we met a need that day, but the impact I think we're going to have in the community is not going to be just yesterday. It's going to be going forward because now Windsong knows there's a church in the area they can lean on and trust and wants to partner with. One of our kin comes up to me after he gets back and he said, that was the best day I've ever had, right? Like I'm going to go back there once a month at least and talk to those guys at the domiciliary and hang out with those veterans. And do you have any cards I can take to them? Just, fired up about it. And so to me, that is almost the bigger impact for Impact Sunday. Did we get to meet a need? Yes, absolutely. Did we create mind share in our community? For not even just our community, but for our people. Like our people are now seeing, hey, there's a stigma and we just broke the stigma because we went and served somebody who doesn't look like us. Hey, there's a need in our community we didn't know existed, but now we do. And so now we're going to try to partner with. And so everything from that to the church relationships that get built, because Todd took a group to do yard cleanup and I'm seeing the signups come through and I'm like, there's like, daggum 25 people signed up for yard cleanup. And he sends me the pictures, and I'm like, I don't know if 25 is going to be enough. Mm-hmm. And they knock out this yard in 2 hours, and they said, the unanimous consensus was those people are incredibly appreciative. They had 3 tractors, 25 people, I think, and said we could probably spend another week on that property and still not really get it to where it needs to be. And so I was grateful for that. And then I heard the stories, not just of, the level of gratefulness from that, but I got to meet so-and-so working at this project, or I got to really get to know them or whatever. And so I don't think you get to know somebody like you do when you're either in a group with them or you're serving next to them. I think when you pull in the same direction together, it really does something. And so this is a shameless plug for any time we do something like that in our communities. Get in there and get your sleeves up, roll them up, and get in the trenches with somebody. And if you've been lacking church connection or you feel like it's just not happening, whatever, there's really no better way than, in my opinion, serving or a small group.
Yeah, I love that side of it, right? Is we're trying to have an impact in our communities, but inevitably, it happens every time. You also have connections that are being forged with your own people who maybe have seen each other, but they don't know each other. And I can think of, and this is part of the anxiety leading up to Impact Sunday for someone like me, type A, every detail, you can't plan for what it's going to look like. And so it's going to be chaos, right? And especially like for us with the yard sale, a lot of work had to go in the front end to get everything organized, sorted, get it out on tables, all that set up. And then, it almost slows down a little bit when the actual yard sale starts. And so, it's going to be chaos. There's going to be 10 different people asking different questions at the same time. And I jokingly said this to Lucas on Sunday. I was like, I feel like every time someone comes and asks me a question, I'm leaving them on red because someone else has a question, and it's like just back and forth.
100%.
But in the way that this happens, that you like forge these connections was, people would walk in and they would say, hey, how can I help? What can I do? And it was like, because there's just so much going on, it's like, hey, go talk to that person and they'll tell you everything.
Yep.
Well, so you're forced in that moment, you're forced to talk to that person. You may not know that person, but now you do.
Yep.
Now you have a connection. Now you have a name. Now you know what I mean? It's just, walls are inevitably going to fall down. Like they can't help it because there's so much going on. And then, you reap the benefit of that down the road because now you met somebody. Now you know their name. Now when you walk in on a Sunday, it's, hey, how's it going? It's good to see you, whatever. Like, and there's just a connection there that, that I think lasts way beyond just one Sunday.
Yeah. And I would, I don't want to miss this shout out because she was another one of my point people that just absolutely shrunk my anxiety level. Alice Peeler, if you listen to this, thank you so much for everything that you did. You were a godsend as well. But it was cool. And there's a big part of me that's excited we did it. I think we all learned a bunch, right? As far as like, okay, the next time we do this, we'll have some things that we take away from it and some different organizational things, some different community things. Across the board, I'm excited to see what this looks like in the future as it becomes a well-oiled machine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we start to get these kind of details together because I think that when you get, it's good to get everybody say, all right, we're in a room together. What can we do? Let's go storm hell with a water pistol. It's another thing to get people in the room who are ready to storm hell with a water pistol. And it's a really fine-tuned machine and we are being targeted and pointed and that kind of thing. And so I'm excited about that. I'm glad we got this. Not that it was a trial run by no means, because I think we had a bajillion people, more people than we had t-shirts for.
Yeah. Every location. So I told you guys in Live Oak, this is echoing just so that, I told you can send me a nasty email that you didn't get a shirt, but just know that every location ran out of t-shirts. So that's our bad.
And if you're in Lake City, know that I was gonna pick 150 and these guys talked me out of it. Chris, can you believe that? No, it was good. So we had 100 t-shirts and we ran out, and the people were showing up like, hey, do you have any more? And I'm like, there might be one XXX on that table still, go grab it if you want it, kind of thing, but that's it. So
even so, I saw some people in Live Oak, I won't say any names, about Seth Wilkins, but the only shirt he could find was too small, so he had to leave his jacket on the whole time. So he was like, I'm busting out of this thing. So
man, that's good. That's good. Good for you, Seth. I'd be busting out of my shirt for different reasons. So I'm proud of you. That's good stuff. But it's behind us now, which is, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little less stressed. I'm enjoying my Monday. I'm enjoying this Monday more than I was Monday.
Of the 10 tabs open in my brain, I think 7 of them are closed now. But that's right. We had Harvest Celebration last week. We had Impact Sunday. There's all the legwork leading up to it, the planning, the prep, the sign-ups, all that kind of stuff. And so now there's just a few tabs open, but there's still big tabs. I think we're going to talk about those at the end.
Yeah, we are. So now that this is behind us, in front of us, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything that comes with Thanksgiving and Christmas. And really and truly, normally we would do this on the very front end of the segment, but I think Impact Sunday was just absolutely worth talking about first. what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the season of Thanksgiving first. And Chris, you have for us set up a little draft that we should go through. Am I right?
That's right.
All right. So what we're going to do, how many rounds did we decide this is?
So we're going to do 5 rounds. This is a Thanksgiving draft. Anything to deal with Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving.
So these could be traditions, or are we talking about just food?
Anything Thanksgiving.
Anything Thanksgiving related. Yeah, so
Well, all of my Thanksgiving thoughts are food.
Then that's fine. How do we, I just don't want somebody to say Thanksgiving food because no, you got to pick a specific.
All right. What order are we drafting in here?
Oh, I got that ready. So we got a little spin here.
Grade in the draft. Are we letting the people grade in the comment section who had the best draft, or how do you know who
we
wins?
could do that.
I mean, how to be a winner. You know what I mean?
Are we drafting against each other, or we're just doing our own draft?
This is 3. Once it's off the board, it's off the board.
That's right. Yeah. Somebody else picks one, and you don't get it.
But every time you pick one, you have to do one better the next time, or is it just you're throwing out random?
This is just for fun. I don't think there has no winner, but AJ wants a winner. They can pick it in the comment
section to vote for the best Thanksgiving
Or so we can drill this later in a group chat.
Yeah, that's right. So
all right. So
we got a wheel here.
We're spinning the wheel. See who gets to go first. We'll go clockwise after that.
Oh, I got to go. It's AJ. So round 1, pick one. Thanksgiving, you have to go turkey, right? The turkey is like the classic Thanksgiving item. I'm taking it off the board. I feel like it's a no-brainer pick. I'm picking a turkey for round 1. Pick one.
All right, let's go now for me. For my pick, we're going to go with the host turkey nap.
Oh, it's a good one.
You don't have kids yet, do you?
No.
Yeah, that sounds it. Which is why that's an even better one. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
We do get to run around to everybody else's on Thanksgiving, but then
let's see. I remember those days, and that nap hits different.
It does,
especially if you hunt that morning. You know, it's like you're tired. You come home, you eat this big meal, and then you're just gone. Yeah, or 2 hours.
Is that some foreshadowing for your pick right there?
Actually, this is maybe a sleeper. This is probably not gonna resonate with everybody, but this is something that like I can remember. This goes with the nap. Okay, so you eat your big Thanksgiving meal, and then you turn on Thanksgiving Day football.
That was going to be my second round pick. That's a good pick.
That was my second round pick.
You fall asleep to the winless Lions trailing by 20 in the third quarter.
Oh man, Dan Campbell really turning things around there.
Hey man, they're a sleeper.
They are. I don't even know if they're a sleeper anymore. They're just juggernaut. They're just doing it.
Apparently Vegas does not want them to win because they would absolutely destroy all the books.
Yeah, man, that's a great pick. I was going to pick that because I remember just as a kid, we would go, man, I don't know if your family's like this, but during the holidays, because our families were all kind of so close together, there was no chill holiday. Like it was like on Christmas, we wake up, we go to my grandma's house. Once we leave my grandma's house, my mom's mom, we'd go to my dad's sister's house. Once we left my dad's sister's house, we'd come over to my mom's sister's house. And once we left my mom's sister's house, we'd go somewhere else. And then we'd end up going back to my mom's sister's house for dinner and dessert and all that. And I just remember as a kid, everybody's eating their Thanksgiving meal or their Christmas meal. And there's football right there on the TV, baby. And you're just chilling. The men are chilling. The girls are in there doing whatever the girls are doing.
But it's like certain teams that play every year, right? It's like the Cowboys and the Lions, and they play a random team. But I think it's those two teams. I don't know.
And I enjoy rivalry week too. At the end of
that's right.
Oh, I'm talking about
that is always
specifically Thanksgiving Day football,
right?
NFL.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a big deal.
The following Saturday every time.
Yep.
That Florida
last year was Friday.
Yeah, it's true. That following weekend, so that would be a good pick. I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to go with probably not a sleeper, probably not even a crowd favorite here, but an AJ favorite. I'm going pumpkin pie for my next pick. Some people don't love pumpkin. I know that, whatever, but that's my...
We were going to have a draft for the worst Thanksgiving traditions.
Pumpkin pie would be on. And hater. Pumpkin pie was
like the smell, the look,
oh boy.
I love it. Oh, come on, let's go. You know, the Grinch, when he turns into the holiday cheermeister and they're just shoving spoons in his face. I could do that with pumpkin pie the whole night. I love it.
All right, my next pick is turkey gravy. Homemade turkey gravy with mashed potatoes. My granny makes it. She's got the little egg bits in it. She makes it with the turkey neck.
Is it like giblet gravy? That's what my grandma made.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is bomb. Put it on your dressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love it.
All right. So this is my all-time favorite.
So why didn't you take it last round and leave football for me?
I had to ease into it. I had to gauge where you guys were at because this is a competition. We're just not saying it is.
Okay.
All right. Homemade pecan pie.
Pecan pie is good.
Yep.
Pecan pie, pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Listen, when I was at Westwood, there was a guy, Bill Dabbs. man, he made the best homemade pecan pie, and he would bring it to the office every year during Thanksgiving week. And it's like you could eat it for breakfast, you could eat it after your lunch, you could eat it for dinner. Like it was just bomb.
Yeah, there's another. That's a good pick. That is a good pick. I'm a dessert guy, period. Like, I'm not going to shy away from any of the desserts. I mean, the next to my pumpkin pie is probably going to be some pecan pie. So, I would say this is round 3, right? Pick one in round 3. Yep. Here was one of my favorite things about the holidays. And this is not going to resonate with everybody again because everybody's dynamic is going to be different. But we were so tight with my cousins and my family, my aunt, my uncles, and my grandparents. I just love, like, this was an excuse to go get with them. And so round 3, pick one is going to be being with family that I just don't get to see throughout the year that I get to see on those holidays. So that's probably my round 3 pick.
Yeah. And we used to do like the leftovers on the next day. Yeah. So it was like there's always people around. There's energy in the house. That's right.
I love that. Enneagram 7 here. I love it. I'm here for it.
So it's not one of my picks that makes me think of the turkey sandwich with the cranberry sauce on it.
Oh, cranberry. That's like number 9 on my word tradition.
You like cranberry?
Yeah. The canned stuff with the little ridges in it.
What if I told you somebody brought that to our Friendsgiving at student ministry and not a single cranberry got?
Yeah, I'm out on that.
We had at our Friendsgiving and about half of it got ate.
Really? So that's more than I've ever seen eaten.
And there was like 11 of us. So
all right, well, that's pretty.
So we got some people that like it. All right, so for my round 3 pick would be decorating the Christmas tree.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Decorating the Christmas tree is a good one.
So for us growing up, that was like a Friday thing.
Yep.
You know, again, you do Thanksgiving, you take your nap, all that stuff. And then, you have leftovers on that. And it was like, right after lunch, you start getting all the Christmas stuff out. So yeah, that was one of my favorite traditions as well. Same. I will say, and I'll explain why, because I gave people a hard time in Live Oak. There were people like at the end of October decorating for Christmas. And I'm like, who are you people?
Yeah. You forgot the turkey.
Yeah. Actually, Seth, he sent me a meme the other day and he's like, well, if somebody would write a Thanksgiving banger, then we could stop celebrating Christmas early. And I was like, yeah, touche. All right. So whoever's creative, write a Thanksgiving banger and then we can delay it.
A banger is a good song for our older demos.
Like a really, really popular, catchy song about Thanksgiving. So yeah, I enjoyed that. All right. This is me again. Like, and I could eat this any time of the year, but it hits different next to your turkey on Thanksgiving. But like any type of potato casserole with like melted cheese on the top, maybe with like cream of mushroom, whatever, like that's got to be at the top somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Probably not one of my top picks, but something that always makes it on my plate. You know what I mean? Like it's just all reliable.
Mean potatoes, like
yeah.
It's not the splashiest, but like it's a staple. You can't have a plate of Thanksgiving without it.
But I am about to throw you a staple for the next pick. The mac and cheese. The mac and cheese at Thanksgiving is a staple. And there's always, I'm not talking about like, you got some people that like, and mac and cheese isn't that great. I'm talking about the one person that brings the little
Stofers.
Well, yeah, Stofers
is undefeated.
But man, I like, and I think you guys are haters on this based on previous conversations. Like, if you get a little crusty top mac and cheese,
like the
maybe
cheese
some
crumble on the top.
maybe some Ritz crackers. Oh my brother, that junk right now, I will just about pass everything else up if there's enough of that junk.
It's got to be a creamy mac though.
Underneath,
see, I hate when it kind of dries out a little bit and then you have that layer. Yeah, it's like
you can't reheat it the next day and it's still like
I like just got it really just a crumbly top and cheese, like just cheesy goodness.
Some crumbs just take out
the moistures though, man. You could eat Stofers for 3 days and it's the same every time you reheat.
Stouffer's everything. Stouffer's lasagna, Stouffer's mac and cheese. Stouffer's got it going on. I'm not going to disagree with you. It's always reliable. So,
all right. So I got a little bit of a dark horse pick. Let's say
this is round 3 still, or
round 3.
Because
you're round 4.
It was 4. Hit 4 too.
Okay. Stretchy pants.
You know what? That is a dark horse. One that I think everybody's going to relate to.
Yeah. All right. So this is like just favorite traditions, right? It doesn't have to be applicable now, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it could be something that your family.
So this was like when you were 18 or under, just having the week out.
Yeah.
Of school. And
true. That's a good one.
Being out of school.
Like we're just, and it's this whole time of the year. It's Thanksgiving and then you go back to school for like a week and a half and then you got Christmas. Like there's a lot of energy and excitement around this time of the year. And like, but you get out for a whole week and it hits different.
It do be hitting different. Yeah, man. I'm like still thinking about stretchy pants. I think it's such a great pick. It's a great pick. You take your belt off, even like even if you're not in the stretchy pants.
Nah, I just put my sweatpants on.
Stretchy pants, whatever. You know what I mean? You're in there with. All right. Anyway, so my last pick,
Last round.
again, is probably not going to resonate with everybody. I understand. In many ways, I live a unique life here. Maybe not so much in this part of the world for this pick, but hunting. Like hunting is just something we've done in some capacity on every Thanksgiving. Whether if we are in South Carolina with the family, we're deer hunting Thanksgiving morning and maybe even evening. If we're in Florida, we're duck hunting Thanksgiving morning. And it's just something we do every single year. I'm excited for my kids to kind of just grow up with that's the norm. The norm is we go and we're going to be the first ones out of the house. And then when we get home, we'll start getting lunch together, whatever, that kind of thing, and getting with family. And they're going to, extended family's going to watch us show up a little bit tired. And that's why that nap's going to hit different, like you said, because we're rolling in, we're already sleep deprived.
But it's like, I mean, and we got buddies up north, right? They talk about like everybody has deer camp. And this is one of the weeks where everybody's at camp. It's a week-long celebration. You're hunting, but you're coming back to the cabin. You're coming back and you're hanging out. You're building a fire. You're eating leftovers. Like, it's just, I mean, there's just something about hunting camp.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole week is hunting camp vibes. So
100%.
You're out of school, you can go hunt, you can take a nap, you can just kind of chill. And, it's just the whole week is like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking back through my list, because that's it for me. I still stand by the fact that even on my list, pumpkin pie made it to number 2. I stand by that.
Yeah, right. No, I think it's great. Great pick. Yeah. For my last pick, we already kind of discussed it a little bit, but I'm going to go cranberry sauce.
That's insane. I love you. That's just a crazy top 5 pick. I love
only in its natural state.
What is a natural state?
We're still in the 5th round here. That's like an undrafted free agent that nobody wants.
That's like, you can get him on. You get a cranberry on waiver
12 waiver wire because half your team is hurt.
But you know what?
Anyway,
your draft.
That's right.
It's your draft. That's great.
And people connect with that. But natural state,
they do.
Like
state,
5 of them. Yeah.
I have a can of dog food. That's its natural state. Is this state?
I think that's probably CS,
That is rough. And one, you just lick their knife, just a little piece of it, spread it on the turkey. Yeah. That's my 5th pick.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay. It's a good.
So this is like this probably is behind the scenes of a lot of what we said, but in Florida, you can bet on it every year. One of my favorite things about Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving week is every single year, mark your calendar, there will be a cold front the week of Thanksgiving. Yep. Always. And so that makes the hunting enjoyable, all that stuff. But like, there's just something about it feels like Christmas. That's why the mental switch happens. You can go eat all you want at Thanksgiving. You can go put on sweatpants and not sweat to death. Like, it's just everything around Thanksgiving. It's just, I look forward to it every year. You can bet on a cold front that week.
I love it.
And here we are wearing a jacket this morning.
I love it. In the 30s.
Yeah.
Which also gave me some anxiety about some of the activities we did yesterday. It's like, are people going to show up for this? Are they going to be?
It warmed up quick.
It did very quickly.
I was nervous that we weren't going to be able to wear the impact shirts and by 9:30, 10 o'clock, everybody just had a t-shirt on.
I had a different outfit for each location because I had my jacket on, the first one, and then I had my hoodie on, and then just a t-shirt for the last.
Just a t-shirt. Yeah, I was triple layered to start the day. It was
in Live Oak. Some of you guys may know him, some of you won't, but Douglas Holman was there. He's one of our guys who goes to our location. My man showed up I asked him, I was like, did you just get out of the deer stand? Like, he was decked out in insulated coveralls, camo jacket, man, I looked at him at 10 o'clock and I'm like, you have to be dying. But he showed up and it was, 38 degrees.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me, I wanted to, you had some of these just so happens, never just happened stories, and that jacket reminded me of one of the stories from Lake City Sunday. So I'll share this before we kind of move on to the next thing. But one of our groups, and this is the sovereignty of God, I think, shuffling the deck. We had a bunch of our people signed up to do different things. And I ended up having to shoulder tap some people and say, hey, I know you signed up for this, but that's kind of full. Can you go do this? And so I did that. And 2 of the people I did that with were Jason and Nikki Griswold. And I did it with Jason specifically because he is a vet. And I wanted him to go there and be with some of those veterans at the cabins because I think he could relate to it, whatever. And he would bless them with his homemade grits that I need to go pick up today. Don't forget, AJ, go get the grits on my way home. But Don Miller was there talking to a guy, and the guy just, Don, in true Don fashion, if you ever hung out with Don or talked to Don for 1 second, he said, he will tell you, all right, well, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And he means it. And this guy looked back at him, he said, I really need a jacket. It's getting cold. I just moved here. I don't know anybody. I just got to the housing less than a month ago. I need a jacket. And Don said, well, what size are you? The guy goes, I'm a 2X. And Don said, well, I don't have any 2X jackets on me. And Jason overhears this after I have shoulder tapped him to leave where he was going to be at this place. And Jason had this 2X jacket from when they took a trip to the mountains in North Carolina and told Nikki, I really want to leave this jacket in North Carolina because there's going to be somebody up here that needs it. Well, they end up not having somebody to get with it. He ends up bringing it back home. And then this moment happens and he overhears this and he says, I have a 2X jacket, and ends up being able to just give that guy a 2X jacket. So just the little, it just so happens, never just happens moments. And as she made a Facebook post, Nikki, but as I heard the story from maybe somebody else, the guy just started to weep because of how grateful he was that, man, you would just give me this jacket. You would just do that. This isn't a big deal to you. So yeah, those things are impactful.
But again, just to echo that, it's because God knows our needs and he cares about us. For us, it's a 2X jacket. I had a plan for this jacket. The plan didn't work out. So I was like, okay, I just throw it in my truck or whatever. But for that person, it communicates hey, the God of the universe knows you. He knows your name. He sees you. He hears you. He cares about you. And let this 2X jacket be a reminder of that. It's for us. And I struggle with it sometimes, because people say, oh, thank you for this. Or, they'll just oh, that was a great idea or whatever. And half the time I'm I didn't plan it. It worked out that way, and well, that's because we have a God behind the scenes who is not some, inanimate force behind the universe, but he is a personal God who sees and hears and cares. And that's the goal. And we said this in Live Oak and we were kind of giving out jackets and things specified, winter type clothing. But we said the goal for this is not so somebody can get a jacket. The goal is that God would use a jacket, use a shirt, use a toy, whatever, to communicate and really tear down walls maybe in their own heart. And that's the thing that we talked about in our meeting leading up to this was, we're doing this from 9 to 11:30, right? Every location, that was kind of the time frame. Who do you think you're going to interact with from 9 to 11:30 on a Sunday morning? Yeah. Probably not going to be church people, right? And so the goal for this is if a jacket is what God would use to get somebody's attention to tear down a wall in their heart, then by all means, we would love to be a part of that. And so, I think stories like that are awesome. And again, I'm confident that somehow, some way you'll continue to see this impact, whether you ever see it or not. This impact will reverberate in these communities in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And with that, that the jacket would have an impact, the shoe boxes would have an impact. I wanted to give you guys a global update here. Across the 3 locations, we collected 613 shoe boxes. And
by the way, when we dropped those off in Live Oak,
I'm sorry, 616 because you guys had 3 extra. Yeah.
So we dropped off the ones in Live Oak to the Live Oak drop-off location. And the lady shared, because we got to make this point that every one of these boxes represents a kid to hear the name Jude. She said, actually, what Samaritan's Purse has found doing the research and the data is that every shoebox touches an average of 6 people. Wow. So now if you do the math, 616 times 6, that is a significant impact. That's upwards of 5,000-6,000 people. Yeah. Just on average. And sometimes it's even more than that.
Yeah. It's so 616 boxes times 6 is the math, right? So almost 3,700 people impacted because you guys were generous
on average, right? And then sometimes it's a village, sometimes it's a large family or whatever. So
yeah, and not only did you guys do that, but you with the way that you gave to the boxes and
adopt a box,
making sure you shipped them, adopted a box, all that kind of stuff. We were able to send out $4,259 to cover all the shipping for those boxes and help out with a ton of that stuff as well.
429 boxes.
426. Yeah. 426 boxes. So just, really cool. You guys are awesome. I love being at a church that's just generous and open-handed and does things like that. But we are, that's behind, the boxes are behind us. The camp deposits are behind us, which by the way, camp is full. Get on the wait list if you want to get on the wait list and we'll let you know when spots come open. Harvest Celebration is behind us, and Sunday is behind us.
So what's ahead of us?
But ahead of us, and I will say immediately ahead of us, probably some location-specific things, but the global thing that's ahead of us is going to be Jingle Jam. So
I think there's something ahead of us that's even sooner than that.
What do you got?
Like today, there's something right before us, right in front of us.
The 20. Oh, Thanksgiving.
No.
What do you got?
Today is episode.
Episode 50. Yeah.
Should we
And
do
that's
that
kind of
now?
like behind us too. It's like,
Oh, well,
at this point, it's 50 episodes. You know what I mean?
Should we do that right now? Should we dive in right now?
Let's go for it.
All right, I love it. So, Ducer, I'm going to let you take the lead here. I'm going to let you remind people of how they could have entered. I'm going to let you remind them of what's at stake. And then I'm going to let you spin the wheel because you've entered all the data into a random generator and announce our winner here.
All right. So we had 10 different ways that you could enter to win. We had 3 different posts that you could have liked, commented, or shared. That gives you 9 entries. And then we had the extra entry of leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. And then we had that extra, where's AJ?
Where's Waldo? In the Midwest.
So one person got an extra entry for that. 101 entries in total. So it's pretty exciting. So we can spin the wheel.
Let's spin the wheel.
the one lucky customer.
We'll give win a $50 gift card.
Where's the gift card to? Do we have all that, or is it a surprise, or what?
Oh, that is so close. Oh, should we? Does that count?
I don't know. I can't.
She's not staff.
She's not staff.
Why not? She's a volunteer these days. Formerly staff, but she's a volunteer. I say we go with it.
Carla Collins.
Carla Collins, you have won a $50 gift card. No foul play here. We watched him spin the wheel. We watched it land. How many entries did you have, Carl? Like one? You're
Only one entry.
sliver is tiny on this wheel. And
All it takes is one.
you got her did. That's crazy. There's going to be some 10 entry people disappointed.
Yeah.
Trey, you know what? We love it. Trey's got the biggest block on there, and, it's almost halfway across the pie from
10%.
I love it. Well, Carla, we will, since that's a great transition to Jingle Jam, we will make sure we get your $50 gift card to you. Thank you, everyone who decided to do that. And thank you for all of our dozens of listeners who regularly listen to this podcast, because some of you have made it 50 episodes with us. And
That's a soon, because our 1,000th episode is going to get wild.
You could win no, I'm just kidding.
that pie is going to be crazy. 1,000 episode. Oh, man. Well, that is a good transition, because Carla, as a volunteer, is actually the one who is heading up Jingle Jam for all of us. And so she's our director.
Her official title for Jingle Jam.
Yeah, she's the one barking orders and making sure people are in places and all that kind of stuff. And so
Maybe we should probably explain Jingle Jam.
I was going to say, what is Jingle Jam? Tell us what Jingle Jam is.
So this is part of the tabs that have been opened in everybody's brain is, and Chip and Aaron, they've been keeping us up to date, just staff text, things to come up and, just things to keep at the forefront of our minds, because we did have Harvest Celebration. We did have shoe boxes. We did have camp deadlines. We had Impact Sunday. There was a lot of little things coming up. Well, one of the big pushes that we're doing really to round out the year is Jingle Jam. But part of the dilemma for us as a behind the scenes staff is we haven't really been able to promote it and talk about it a lot, because there's been so many other things leading up with Harvest and Impact Sunday and shoe boxes and deadlines and all that. So here's your chance to kind of hear a one-stop shop of Jingle Jam. We'll start announcing it, Sundays and stuff like that. But Jingle Jam is a family experience, right? And we've done these over the last several years. We usually do them in-house. We kind of advertise it. One of our locations will host it, but it's, every location's invited to it. And it's a family-friendly, family-oriented, experience is what it's called. But Jingle Jam specifically focused on like a Christmas theme and the Christmas story. But this year, and this was Chip's idea, I think, way back when, is instead of doing Jingle Jam like in-house just for all of our locations, the idea was, what if we do Jingle Jam, but we gear it towards our communities? And so what we have been planning and what we've decided is every location will host a Jingle Jam, but the target is the people in our community. It doesn't mean the people in our churches can't come. We definitely want you to come, and it's a great opportunity to come as a family and bring your kids and all that. But we're really targeting and advertising it to our community. And so every location is going to host one of these. Branford's going to host the first one, December the 12th. That will be at the high school auditorium in Branford. Live Oak will be second, and that will be Tuesday, December the 17th. We're going to host it at Swanee High School in the auditorium. And then Lake City will be that Thursday, December the 19th, and that will be at the Richardson 6th grade center. Is that what it's called? RSGA.
Yeah.
And so those are kind of the dates that you can plan for. And really what Jingle Jam is it's just an interactive, it's not really a play, not in the sense that you would think of a play, but it's just an interactive experience where ultimately the goal is to tell the Christmas story in an interactive, engaging way. It invites the audience to participate and stuff like that. But the goal is just simply to tell the Christmas story to people in our community who may or may not know the Christmas story, who may or may not, know who Jesus is and the whole idea, like, why do we celebrate this or whatever. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of what Jingle Jam is. And so I would just say be on the lookout, because there's going to be a number of ways to be involved with Jingle Jam, either in promoting it or actually being a part of it that night.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, yes, it's not at our locations unless you're in Brantford this time. And so, no, it's not specifically geared toward church families. But yes, if you're a church family, this is such an easy win, because you go to the ball fields with other families and you hang out with them and do other extracurricular activities. Tell them, like, hey, this is what's going on. I'd love for you to come sit with me. And there's going to be popcorn.
Perfect opportunity to invite somebody.
Yeah, all kinds of different things on the back end. There'll be an after party for them to hang out at. And so this is, again, something we want to do for the community. One of the things we hear about our region, our little areas all the time as well. If I want to go do something, I got to drive to Gainesville, or I got to drive to Jacksonville. And, there's never any free events here or whatever. And so this is really a way that I think we're remedying both of those things. One, it's free of charge. Just come as you are. Two, it's local. You don't got to drive an hour to go to one of these things. They're going to be in your community. And so come and hang out and enjoy it with the family. It's not going to take up your whole night. It's going to be short, sweet, and to the point, and we're going to have a good time.
And I mean, I would say we've recruited some all-stars to be a part of this, right? Like, yes. I mean, this is not the location pastors running the show. This is like people who are putting in the time and the effort to memorize their lines and their scripts and stuff like that. So, I mean, really, I think you have no shame in inviting people to this. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good time. And so that's happening. And really, I guess we'll just let them know what's happening next week, this coming weekend, and then we'll kind of round out there. And I would love to speak to this too. It's a big reason I was glad you were going to be on the podcast today, because this was really an idea that you had bounced around for a while in different ways. But we're jumping into our next series, and it's called Coloring Book Christmas. Tell us what that looks like.
Yeah, so it's weird because, I'm not just talking to our Live Oak people, but yet if you go to Live Oak, then you're like, well, I thought we already did that. So this was an idea that I pitched last year when we were kind of talking through sermon calendar and stuff like that. But coloring book Christianity is kind of a phrase that I've coined in my head. I don't know if it's original. It may be in my subconscious somewhere. But what I think has happened is, in this part of the world, the Bible Belt South, there are a ton of people who went to church as a kid, or they went to vacation Bible school. They went to Sunday school. Grandma read them a Bible story before they went to bed. And so what I think has happened is we have a lot of people in this area who are somewhat familiar with stories from the Bible, these famous stories. These are David and Goliath. This is Daniel and the lion's den. This is Noah's Ark, like the big stories. And what I think has happened is we remember bits and pieces of those stories. And oftentimes we remember them from what we learned when we were a kid in Sunday school, in vacation Bible school. And oftentimes, there's the animated coloring book picture of Noah on the boat, and there's a giraffe and an elephant and all this, and they're smiling, looking out the window, right? And so I think that's what a lot of people have, in their subconscious, in their minds when it comes to the Bible. And yet what happens is we grow into adulthood, but our Christianity or our knowledge of the Bible or our understanding of the Bible doesn't grow with us. And so now we have 30-year-olds who are married and have kids and have a family, or we have 40-year-olds, or we have 50-year-olds, and they live a life that is seemingly chaotic. They live a life that, isn't always sunshine and roses, isn't a bunch of animated cartoon characters who are always having the best day. And I think there's a disconnect because what they know of the Bible is what they remember from childhood, and they don't see how the Bible is relevant to them today. And so the idea of coloring book Christianity is, I think we have a lot of people in our area specifically who are so affiliated with churches, who have church experience, and yet their Christianity is a coloring book one. And so they can't see how the Bible relates to raising a family. They can't see how, their Bible relates to the chaos that they call Monday through Friday in sports and all this stuff. And and I'm so busy and I'm so tired and I'm trying to keep up and there's a disconnect between that and the Bible. And so that's what I mean when I say coloring book Christianity. And so because of the season, I think the same is true of not just the Old Testament stories, but also the Christmas story. I have the memories of a child, and it's, I was watching Charlie Brown's Christmas on TV, and I went and, I saw this nativity scene when I was driving, through town and saw the lights or whatever. And so I think the Christmas story is very much like those famous Old Testament stories, and people remember bits and pieces of the Christmas story. And yet, when we go back and read the Bible, sometimes what we read is very different from what we remember. Sometimes what we read is very different from what we thought we remembered about the Christmas story. And so the goal of Coloring Book Christmas is really to take a new look at what does the Bible say about the Christmas story, and what is it teaching us about who Jesus is? Because we want to make sure that we understand, okay, why is this story relevant? Not just that, I can remember bits and pieces because I have this mental picture in my head, but what is the point of that story? What does the story really teach me about who Jesus is? Because if we understand who Jesus is, now we understand the relevance of why is he relevant to my adult life?
Yeah.
Why is he relevant to my chaotic life? Why is he relevant to me raising a family? And so the goal is really to just build a bridge to what we remember, what we think we remember, and what the Bible actually teaches us about who Jesus is and what we celebrate and read about Christmas, and to hopefully allow that to increase and strengthen our faith, and to understand that, no, the Bible is relevant for me as an adult today.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited to dive into week 1, and it's going to carry us through Christmas. Now, remember, no services the week after Christmas. So the Sunday after Christmas, we do not have in-person services. We're going to tell you this, and we're going to tell you this for the next 4 weeks. And then just like people showed up Sunday who called the Orchard home and probably heard the announcement once or twice, you're going to show up and say, oh, I didn't know that. And we're going to say,
to be clear, that's December the 29th. There will be no services at any Orchard location.
Yes, we want you to know. We want you to have heads up for that. So that's good, man. I think that'll be really good. My last question for you as we kind of round this out, for both of you, really, what's your prediction for this weekend, man? You got Florida State heading to Doak Campbell. I mean, the Bobby Bowden Field or whatever.
I think the writing is on the wall. I think we have 11 games of data that make it a pretty clear-cut winner.
Yeah, but you throw data out the window in the rivalry games. Is there
okay, that's like a normal, like, even if you're a bad year, this is historically bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. You guys don't think there's any, I mean, I haven't watched Florida State.
I think there is 0 chance.
All right. I think you guys are in a
This past week, he gave me some hope. I was at the game. That's what I'm talking about. They look good. They played a lot of young players, like
hope for the future. You hope for this week.
Change some coaches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think we'll win, but I mean, there's hope that we'll be.
A win always feels good. Yeah. But then I remind myself, we played a 1-9 FBS team.
Yeah.
We're a 1-9 FBS team, and we played a 1-9 FCS team, and we beat them by 30.
So 5 of their games, they lost by less than 3 points.
Oh, yeah, Chris, redeeming it.
But I see how bad we are, and we beat them by 35 or whatever.
Well, I think you guys are in a prime position. Football bounces funny way sometimes. I think there's probably a gap this year, talent-wise, or whatever, coaching-wise, whatever you want. But I think you guys are in a prime position to ruin a team's hopes and dreams who just came off a back-to-back ranked win. So I think you got that going for you. There's a little Cinderella-ish in there.
Yeah.
But
I would say if that were normal, I just think there's some kind of psychological element this year, and I don't trust these guys to be gritty and to play tough and do what it takes to win nasty football game.
A beat dog flinches every time a hand's raised.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I do it, but nah, whatever. And they just kind of throw the towel in. That's been the bulk of the season. That's the most frustrating thing is, I mean, some of these guys, not to bore you guys with football, but I mean, FSU was a 13-win team last year, and some of the same guys who were starters last year have looked atrocious this year. I don't think you just automatically regress from a physical ability.
No.
But here's the thing. This is my conspiracy part, right? Is some of these guys are now, making upwards of 7 figures.
Phew.
I mean, I don't know about you, but that probably does something to my motivating factors.
Yeah.
That's not just purely physical. Anyway.
Yeah, not me. If I had very first 7 figures, I'd probably handle it really well, personally. Though, for those guys, I can see why it would be an issue, with them.
Yeah.
No, that's good. It'll be fun to watch anyway. So we just had to get that on there for Hunter because, he doesn't believe Florida's back even after back-to-back ranked wins. So just need to get that out there for you, Hunter. All right. Well, that's all we got. Look forward to December coming, different things happening, but we will catch you guys right here next week.
See ya.
We miss you, Chip. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk About That. We hope it encouraged and challenged you as we continue to grow in this journey of faith and embrace community. If you have more questions, thoughts, or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us through our social media channels or visit our website and stay connected. Your questions are what make this podcast a dynamic and enriching experience. If you found today's discussion meaningful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your engagement helps us spread the message and connect with others who may find value in these conversations. Until next time, we hope this episode inspired you and will help you bring Sunday's message into your week ahead. Keep the conversation alive, and remember, we're all on this journey together.